And I think Exhaust still would be a very good summoner spell. We just saw how good it was for Bengi in game number 1. Able to just completely negate Peanut's all-in on Nidalee and really punish him for it and ultimately lead to the victory. So Exhaust Barrier would also be anything that just keeps you from dying, but at least in this situation, Peanut realizes he's probably going to die inside the Cataclysm, so the ability to flash out of that is going to keep him alive too.
Yeah, so as we can see with the items so far, Crystalline Flask coming in yet again for Bengi. This time Peanut opting to go for the Cloth with 5 pots. Now what do you think about this in the long run? Do you think that the Cloth 5 is going to benefit him more and allow him more sustain than a Crystalline Flask would?
I think Crystalline Flask is by far the best start to the game because essentially it gives you the inevitability that if you get like 1 to 2 trips back to base and are able to fill that Crystalline Flask up, there's not a whole lot you can do against that. You just get so much free gold from the cost effectiveness there. You can sustain through all the early damage and then just have such a cost effective later on when you get the rest of your buys, it's going to be a lot better for you. So I like the Flask start there for Bengi. It's going to give him a lot of mana to spam out those early Dragon Strikes. But for Peanut, the Cloth Armor is a little bit interesting because while maybe you build that into a Seeker's Arm Guard and you stack up the effectiveness over the course of the lane phase, that's a pretty cost effective way to do that. You still need HP against the Jarvan all-in, and Doran's Ring's pretty much the only way he's going to get that.
Absolutely. As we can see already, even on CS, Peanut missing a few special minions coming into this one. Now Bengi pushed back underneath the tower. Going to go ahead and pick these up. So far, staying even in CS.
Oh, gonna get a knock up here. There's an Ignite going down as well. Peanut running backwards, but survives the all-in.
Yeah, no flash for Bengi. Would have been certain death for Peanut if he had that summoner spell. So he does live due to that lack of summoner spell coming in here, but very aggressive play from Bengi, already establishing a very strong foothold in this second match. Not looking good for Peanut so far.
Yeah, and a couple of big question marks. The Cloth Armor for Peanut may have saved his life in that all-in, but he still had to go back to base, and notice he's actually walking back into lane, so not using that summoner spell teleport. Wanting to save that for when he actually has to go back. Bengi, however, did use that Ignite, and that's the big question mark. Like, when you're going for an all-in on a champion who wins by all-inning, you usually want your all-in to be as effective as possible, and not going for flash, going for that teleport is kind of trying to have your cake and eat it too, as far as being able to go back to base and pick up items safely. But, like you said, flash could have secured him first blood.
Yeah, I think Bengi really just wanted to establish a middle ground between playing aggressively and playing safe. Without that TP, he didn't necessarily know what was going to come in from Peanut, so he didn't want to get in against somebody that would be able to push down towers effectively, so that if he got back, he could get his tower shoved down quickly. So unsurprising seeing the TP coming in, but like he said, would have netted him a 2-0 victory had he chosen it. But hindsight is 2020. So not too much can be done about it so far. As you can see, Peanut actually picking up CS a bit more effectively now. Slow coming out from Bengi. He may want to aggress.
Now, what's interesting is that even though Peanut actually took the entire time to teleport back to base and then walk back into lane, he's still actually ahead in CS, which shouldn't theoretically be possible if Bengi spent that entire time just sitting in lane CSing. And somewhat uncharacteristically, Bengi has actually lost the last 2 cannon minions, and is losing CS under turret here as well, as taking a ton of harass from a Peanut who got, for all intents and purposes, a free trip back to the fountain.
Yeah, actually, Peanut really very much turning this on its head and just pushing Bengi back to his limits. As we can see, the recall is coming out. It's completely out of mana. Does not have any more flasks or charges on that crystalline flask. He does have that mana potion, but he opts to save that. So that does save him a little bit of gold. As we can see, he has a Doran's Blade pickup as well as a longsword. So he's still looking to go very aggressive, and he burns the TP back in. Meanwhile, Peanut gonna go ahead and back. Gets spotted out by the Scrying Orb, however, forced to cancel his recall. And I was gonna have to back even further, scared actually now of that Dragon Strike. So good job on Bengi, really just delaying the recalls from Peanut.
Yeah, delays the recalls, lets the minions push further into the lane, and probably won't be able to deny any CS underneath this turret with the quick recall back in. But once again, what is that cloth armor doing? I guess it combos with the HP from the Doran's rings to actually give you a lot of effective tankiness, but at the same time, it's not offensive, and he traditionally does win by being offensive. But at this point, you know, relatively even in CS, it's... both of these guys are going to kill each other at the same time. It's going to be awesome to watch them just... Jarvan go in for the dunk and immediately get stunned out by Tibbers. And then it's like 2v1 inside the Cataclysm. But Jarvan does overall maybe a little bit more damage. It'll be interesting to find out what happens.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to how Bengi can juggle the martial cadence in these exchanges. If he's able to get in and rip off that 10% HP every time in a trade, he's going to come out on top unless he gets a full combo from Peanut. So you can see Peanut recalling already yet again, walking back into lane. Bengi now getting himself a nice little comfortable CS lead, 46-40 in his favor, but he is pushed up under Peanut's tower, and he should be able to clear these minions out pretty easily with an Incinerate, and combined with his Disintegrate on top of that, as we can see, picked right back up, only down by 1 now.
Now, Bengi actually does have a lot of HP, and he's got a lot of sustain here too. I guess fairly similar for both players. What's going to be interesting to me is to see. So there's 1 point in the Golden Ages there. Oh, Bengi going to go in. That's that martial cadence you were talking about. Just chunking off that big chunk and going in once again. The Ignite's up, flash out, but it's going to be not enough. As Bengi there with the last auto attack there. Flash, not good enough. That's what we were talking about. It's going to be able to get you out of the Cataclysm, but it's not going to give you any HP back. And the turnaround here off the all-in. Peanut just overextending a little bit too much. That'll give Bengi a 2-0 victory over Peanut.
Yeah, as we could see right there, the Cataclysm combined with the initial tick from the Ignite already took Peanut down to below half HP. Only took a flash and a few other auto attacks forward to